This thing right here is very rough. It has a very slim chance of running, but hey, we're gonna see if we can get it running today. This right here is a 1992 Polaris 250 4x4. I picked this thing up exactly how you see it. And so the story behind this, I went to go buy a snowmobile, and the lady had this out front, just sitting in the bushes by our driveway there. Once I loaded up the sled and purchased that, I asked her what she was doing with this ATV that I saw sitting there, and she says, "Why, you're interested in it, and can you get it out of here?" "Oh yeah, I can fit that on my trailer," I said. She said, "Just take it. I want it out of here." I said, "Hey, I'm not going to turn down a free ATV, even if it does look like a parts machine. Even parts machines are worth money." So when I heard free, I said absolutely, and I loaded it up real quick. And she went inside. She said, "Hang on, I think I got something for you." And she ended up bringing back all the paperwork when they bought this brand new in 1992. Or maybe they bought it in 93, I don't know. But this is a 92 model. They had all the paperwork when they bought it, which is very, very rare to have on most of these older machines. Usually stuff gets lost and you just never get anything other than a bill of sale with them. So that alone was pretty neat that I got all the paperwork. So I wanted to see if I could get this thing going just for that fact. I have no idea. She didn't know anything about it. I do know that does not look good. There's no cap on the, well, the cap's there, but the piece, the insert that seals this up is gone, and there's a bunch of junk. That's your oil injection. This runs a 250 or 244cc air-cooled two-stroke engine, and yeah, so it's oil injected. Obviously, we don't want that crap running into the engine. Now, this thing, I believe, is, oh, maybe it's not free. I don't know. I just went to turn this, but that's not actually turning the engine. They have the recoil off of it right now, and so if we turn this, it's just not catching. So I guess we don't know. The engine could be bound up. I would probably be very surprised if it was not bound up. They got a plug down here buried under all that junk, and it looks like the plug that's in this is just yeah, it's not even screwed in. So any water could have certainly get in that engine. To be honest, if we look this thing over, it's really not in that bad a shape. The plastics, yeah, they're faded, but they're not broke up. It's got the rear rack. I don't know if this one came with a front rack. Yeah, it has. Yeah, you can see where it was bolted right there. So it did have a front rack. I never got the front rack. I never got the plastic piece that goes over here either. The picture on the sales brochure that I got showed blue. I had a white one. This thing's off one of the parts machines I bought in the past, so that could work for that one, and it will look pretty decent, I think. You know, these tires, they're original. They are no good. I mean, they have so many weather cracks in them. They've been flat forever, especially the back ones. But these are the original Goodyear Terra tire, Goodyear Wrangler Sports. So kind of neat to see originals on there, but yeah, I mean, look at the center of these things. They're even splitting in the center of the tire, and obviously down there, heavy weather cracking on these things. But I mean, it's actually fairly clean. Like, if you look at the frame itself, the paint is all good on it. The shocks look decent. You know, they feel pretty decent. Coming to back here, the rack's a little loose, but they feel good, the shocks. And like I said, everything's just fairly clean on this thing. You know, especially for a 1992. So anyways, if you saw the last video I posted, I purchased a Polaris, I think it was an 01 or 02 Polaris Explorer 250 4x4. Looks very similar to this, other than it's got green and brown plastics instead of the blue. But everything else looks very similar. Now, the one big difference on these is the transmissions. So I ended up getting that machine running, and it runs beautiful. I mean, it runs really good. I checked compression. It was at like 135, so perfect condition. Sits there and idles all day long. And I mean, I really didn't. I cleaned the carburetor, but I didn't do a thorough job on it. I just wanted to see if it would run, and it did. but unfortunately, the transmission was bad in that. And they're a little pricey for those because it was only like a 3-year thing. Okay, so that was an 01. Because I think they made it in 2000. Yeah, 2000, 2001, and 02. And I believe that was right in the middle. But anyways, so the big difference on that Polaris Explorer, that has the transmission that makes you have a chain drive in the back, but you have your shaft driven for your front wheels. And this, as you can see, it's missing. It's missing the sprocket for the center, and it's missing the chain, but this is chain driven front and rear. So you have 3 chains. You have one from your transmission to your rear sprocket. You have one from your sprocket on your transmission to your mid sprocket. I'd say this is like an idler sprocket, and then this runs up to your front drive shaft here, or your front axles. And then you got your demand hubs there with the Hilliard clutch packs in there that go bad quite often. But yeah, so this definitely a lot more maintenance, but I'm guessing this transmission's probably good and it doesn't have a problem like that. That's got a hole in it. Only high range works, the Explorer I'm talking about. And so I got no low range, no reverse. So it's either spend money to buy, a transmission for that, and, it would be a decent machine. Or I could fix this thing up, and the same thing, it would be a decent machine. But obviously I'm not going to just take that good running engine out for this thing without even trying to hear this thing run. If it's locked up, then yeah, that's probably where we're going to stop with this engine, and we'll just pull it, and we'll pull that one. Let me go show you, if you didn't hear that other one run, let me go show you. It hasn't been started in a couple days, and I bet it'll fire right up. Here she is. I'm telling you, these old 2-strokes, of course, I don't want to jinx myself, but these old Polaris 2-strokes usually start so easy. It's about 15 degrees outside right now, so it's a little chilly. Let's go ahead. I got the electric start working on this thing. I didn't do anything. It just started working before I had to use the recoil. But so we get the choke, we get that on. I think we're in neutral. Ooh, that's a little cold. I think my shifter might be froze up actually, but it should start in gear anyway. So this on your kill switch, you just push up, and that's froze too. Come on. That doesn't seem to be working. I said she'd start up, but we're just having an electrical problem right now. Well, I had a problem with, yeah, well, we'll try to pull her over, see how she starts. Are you kidding me? Now the recoil's not catching. We had some rain when I was working on this thing. Oh, there we go. And so I think everything's froze up. 3 pulls. More than I thought, actually. I thought it would start right up, 1, maybe 2 pulls. But that's still not bad for a cold machine. So, engine's in great shape on this thing. Probably could clean her off. But yeah, so Explorer. Like I said, it was raining, so it's kind of icy. Gonna be hard to see anything until this thing unthaws, but basically the same machine in different color plastics, other than that transmission. Like I said, this one is shaft driven instead of train driven. Still a little cold. That's all right. So this machine, I only paid $200 for this thing. I got that other one for free. So even if that other one is blown up, I can use this engine out of this one. I only got $200 in it. Throw it in that and have a decent machine for $200. Maybe a little more with whatever else I got to put in there, but that's not bad. Okay, I brought the Explorer 250 in. As you can see, it's unthawed a little bit. Now you can see what it looks like. Very similar to that. They're pretty much the same machines, other than, like I said, the transmission. There's a few other things, like this is a lot newer, so it's got the newer gauges. The tool drive, full drive is this type of switch. Your starter button is on the kill switch. Push that up. This is an override button, and then you can see new style headlight. The brake master cylinders get the plastic handle, just a newer style compared to this one right here. Also, the shifter is different. This has got the normal 2000s style shifter where you go over and then up for low, and then high range is all the way to the left and then up, and then reverses in the back. This has a more of a straight line shifter, so you got low, neutral, high, and reverse. I actually kind of like that system. You can see your tool drive, full drive, the on-demand switch, the very basic switch that's pretty exposed to the weather. Actually, I'm sure these are sealed up fairly good, but this is your starter button here, your kill switch, and this is your override actually right there. So front view, very similar. This one looks like it's sitting lower, probably just because of the flat tires. They probably ran the same size tires. These are 22 on the front and 24 in the back. These have 24 in the back and 23 in the front. So a little bit different gear ratios, obviously, for the shaft drive up front versus the chain and sprockets on the front of that one. But anyways, we're focusing on this 92 Polaris right here. So let's go ahead and pull this recoil off and see if that engine's actually locked up or not. Go ahead and pull these bolts off here. That one I cannot get with my impact. And we can get that one out of there. This should pop off. Yeah. Stuck right in that bushing. Okay, yeah, she's locked up. Can we free it up? Or is she locked in good shape? Oh, yeah. She's tight. Well, I guess we know what we're doing now. Yeah, time to start stripping it. Pull that out of there. This fuel tank should be able to be lifted out of here. Looks like the vent is busted off of there. Whew, I can smell all that gas. That is rough stuff. Even our fuel line didn't even have to undo it. She's already broke off of there. Alright. Yeah, so like I said, the plug wasn't even on there. Looks like it was a brand new plug at one time. I don't know if we can see much. Looks wet in there. I never did see if the electronics worked on this. Let's hook a jump pack up. I mean, obviously I got all the stuff to switch it over, but we might as well check it out first. Two, power on that. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, it's a good sign. It's in neutral, right? Yep. Oh, even the starter's spinning over, so that's good. A little sticky, but that starter sounds a little noisy, but at least all that stuff's working. That's a good sign. Go ahead and pull this off. Pull that out of there. Alright, now I'm going to pull this top end off, this cylinder head here, and we'll check the condition of everything before just ripping the engine out. Get that key off of there. Go ahead and pull this guard. This heat shield. And we'll go ahead and pull these 6-cylinder head bolts, or nuts. They are head studs. So. Get off there. We'll grab those nuts. Just gonna throw the plug back in there for the time being, just a little bit, and blow this off. Alright, then I'm going to come in between here and just pry up. Actually, that was... didn't even require any prying. Alright, I think I can sneak it by this. Yeah, I can. There we go. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look great. I don't see anywhere where it would have, actually failed so far. Top of the dome looks pretty good, just some buildup on there. And honestly, this looks like some fairly fresh water and rust. We'll see if that bottom end is salvageable. We'll spray a little WD in there. Maybe. Might be out. There we go. Looks like we lost a exhaust spring, so they used some mechanics wire. That's alright, we'll just cut that off. There's that one, and this one. Oh, I don't know if you saw that. A lot of rusty water came out of that head pipe. Yummy. I'm gonna remove that upper motor mount. We have to remove these. It'll be easier to pull the airbox and the carb out. They gotta come off anyways to get that last engine mount bolt. Get our clamp loosened up, and that should pop right on out of there. A little sticky, but not bad. Got a little on the dry side in that carb. Loosen this side of the carburetor up. That should pop right out. There's that. Alright. Yeah, the oil injection line is just separated. That's supposed to be the filter. And there's the other part of the filter. Goes a little something like that. And it's probably been off for a while. That makes it a lot easier to get the last engine mount bolt. Well, I would say we're probably going to need another engine mount, as that one has came unglued. Now we got 4 nuts holding the cylinder on down here. Alright, I was able to remove all the cylinder nuts without removing the belt cover. Should pull the belt cover anyways to see how that is, because obviously there could be all kinds of stuff in there. But anyways, if the bottom end's trashed in this, I'm probably not going to mess with it. But And there's the last knot. Now we'll come in here. Lift that. Pick up on that cylinder. Seems pretty. Cylinder seems pretty stuck. If that bottom end wasn't seized up, that cylinder should pick right up, even if it was seized up here. When I go ahead and do this, I don't know which way it needs to go, but the engine's moving an awful lot. Well, that engine mount right there. Looks like that engine mount right there is busted too. That thing is locked right up. Let's see if we can take a peek in that intake, see how the side of the piston looks. Definitely some rust in there. We'll do the same thing with the exhaust. Yep. Did finally get it broke free. That's a good sign. Let's see if we can get her up now. Come on, girl. Oh, she's stuck. Of course, that piston is close to the top, but it should go higher than that, I would think. Let's see. Oh, man. Can move the crank a little bit. Back and forth. But that's as far as I can go. There should be more. Well, we probably only have, what, one engine mount left and the clutch before we can yank this engine out, so we might as well just do it. That's all of them. It is. Whether I can sneak it by the fenders. Actually, the fenders aren't attached, so yeah, I can get it by there. There's that. Ooh, yummy. Whew. That stinks. That stinks. Mouse nest. Hopefully we can get that clutch off. These older ones sometimes can be a bear. And I'm not talking about this bolt, I mean when we go to pull it. Spray some lubey inside. Well, let's see how she does. A little grease on there. Thread her in by hand. At least start it by hand. And then the impact. Beautiful. That actually came off nicely. Oh man. Everything stinks so bad in here. That clutch is probably seized right up. Yeah. Just put my knee on there. It's not returning back up. That one out of there. We'll go ahead and unhook the electrical here. Make sure I remember where those go. Yellow and red down here. Right beside that gray wire. Yellow right there. Plain yellow. And then we got the big plug, which we can't mistake that. Oh, then we got a brown on, that's a ground. Then we got the last engine mount here. Nice. This can slide over. Beautiful. Get the throttle cable on the oil injector here. Now I can lift it up. Get that off of there. And I think we have one ground over here. Now I'm not sure if I can get the, actually we're going to be missing a starter bolt too. But I'm not sure if I can get this out without pulling that exhaust or not. I think if I swing it just right I can. Or if I pull that off, it would come right off, but I don't know if that secondary clutch is coming off very easily. Well, I can go ahead and try to remove this secondary. Now, these are not pressed on at all. They should just pop right off, but they do make a puller for when they stick. And I'm guessing she's going to be stuck. Oh, yes. Well, that secondary didn't want to budge. Maybe I sprayed some more stuff in there. Maybe it'll come out later on, but I'll get this exhaust out of here. Surprisingly, for as old as this thing is, it's pretty solid. Now I should be able to get this out. There she is. Now that I get her out, you can see it only went up a little bit, and I can't move it much. Probably can get a better look in there. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, it's a little rusty on those rings. Even to be able to tear this engine apart, because it splits in two right here, the crankcase right here, I'd have to get this top end up at least enough to get, you know, the studs are holding the cylinder. So it's either I can break the cylinder, I could try to get these studs off, but I can't really get two nuts on there unless they're very, very thin. Maybe I could do that. But I'll go ahead and soak this, let it soak some, and see if I can just remove it later on. Now my dilemma is, do I actually want to pull this engine out of this thing to fix that older machine? It's much older too. And, you know, the clutch, I could always use the clutch off this and everything, but I don't know. I'm assuming the transmission's good, but I never did try to turn it over or anything. That's not great. Almost seems locked up. Go ahead and hook this back up. Get the shifter linkage hooked up so I can at least get it into the correct gear. So low range right there. It feels locked up. My chain's not really bound up, I don't think. Chain's nice and free. Oh, I should have looked at this first. matter what gear, let's put it in neutral. She's locked up. Oh, I didn't expect the transmission to be bad on this thing. I don't know what's going on with it. I could always tear it apart and see, but I didn't expect it to be bad on this. You know, with the engine gone, you would think you would think the transmission would be good, but maybe that's not the case. I don't know. I could always tear it down and see. I don't see any holes in this one. It's just seems to be bound up. It's almost like it's in between a gear or something. So I guess I don't exactly know what I'm doing with these two things yet. I don't know. I kind of would like to rebuild an engine, but I still don't. I have a transmission for this. If this thing is bad, I have another machine out there, that red one, that probably has a good transmission. I don't know. I'd have to check it. But for now, if I could ever get this thing freed up enough to split the case and everything, I'd like to rebuild it. Wouldn't mind having a 250 on the shelf here. I have plenty of these things. My 1985 Polaris Scrambler 250 runs the same exact engine, and this one's pretty tired. So I wouldn't mind having a fresh rebuild engine just to slap in here, and then I can pull this one out and rebuild that at one time. I got so many projects. My 350AX. There's really not a lot. This thing's looking pretty rough. It's just been sitting forever. Got the Yamaha Tri-Z 250s. There's so many parts. I got to rebuild one of them. One of these days anyways. But for now, I guess I'm at a standstill until I figure out what I'm doing. Probably should pull both those transmissions, see if either one's salvageable. I think the older one probably is. It's probably something simple, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this short little video, and I'll catch you on the next one.